Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears and your Pro Bowl votes. We are here, a special edition of the Best Case Scenario podcast, Pro Bowl edition.
Yeah.
And I'm right here to my right is
D. Johnson, as
D.
always.
D. Johnson, as always. And we're going to go over our Pro Bowl picks. A little bit of controversy there.
It was an interesting year this year. Picking for me was kind of awkward just because of the fact that the normal characters aren't there, which is a good thing because the NFL needs to progress. But yeah, let's get into who we picked, man.
Yeah, and if you want to vote for the Pro Bowl yourself, you can go to Pro Bowl voting. Go to NFL.com, go to Pro Bowl voting, and you'll get a Pro Bowl ballot. You're going to be able to pick 6 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 8 wide receivers, 4 tight ends. You're also going to be able to pick
2 fullbacks. You'll be able to pick a contingent of offensive linemen, defensive linemen. I think it's 4 linebackers, 4 outside linebackers. I'm sorry, 4 outside linebackers, 4 inside linebackers. A total of 4 cornerbacks.
Total of 4 cornerbacks.
4 cornerbacks. It is 4 cornerbacks.
2 safeties, and there'll be 2 free safeties and 2 strong safeties. And so, kicker, your kick returner, the special team specialist, punter. And so you'll have the whole plethora of special teams
at your disposal, and they went very in depth. That's the one thing before we even get into this. They went very in depth. If you're a pure NFL football fan, if you are a connoisseur of the game, and you really appreciate picking people that deserve to get limelight, they did give you that opportunity by really opening up that special teams slot to you can pick individual special teams players. That's very good. So shout out to
and
that.
If you're a casual fan and you just want to go by who has the best stats, right. They have that too. They have the
or if you're
in the stats.
If you just so happen to play fantasy football, I know some of you guys, some guys that are studs on your squad, may want to vote for them. Give them a shout out for helping you get that championship.
And if you just want everyone on your team to go to the Pro Bowl, you can go ahead. You can sort by team.
That.
You can sort by team,
and they give you an unlimited amount of votes.
Damn team.
They give you an unlimited amount of votes. So if you want to vote more than once, if you want to be that guy, you can definitely do that.
So if you want Danny Woodhead to go to the Pro Bowl,
you can do that.
Danny Woodhead, shout out to Danny Woodhead. He's not a bad player.
He's not bad. I miss Danny Woodhead when he was with the Patriots.
Well, he's still with the Patriots. Oh, that's the thing.
Is he still with the Patriots? He went back because he was with the Chargers for a minute.
Yeah, he's with the Patriots at this point.
All right. Well, good luck. Hey, Danny Woodhead. I know you happy where you at.
He actually played last game.
Man.
Okay, so we're going to start with our quarterback picks. And, so there's always a lot of controversy in the quarterback picks. Now, you can pick 6 people from any group, AFC, NFC, just any top 6 quarterbacks. Personally, because I'm old school and I wanted to keep it kind of fair and balanced, I picked the best 3 from each conference. Okay?
I kind of followed that same thought process too.
Okay.
Because I like to see the competition balanced and fair on both sides. I don't want to see 6 NFL or 6 NFC quarterbacks going against each other because I've seen that throughout the year. I want to see matchups where maybe we don't get to see this guy against that guy. And we talk about it all year, but I agreed with that thought process.
Yeah, definitely. So first pick for me, Tom Brady out of the AFC. I picked Tom Brady because his team is doing very well, and it is because of him. He's not been playing super particularly well, but he does a good job pre-snap getting his team in the correct position to run the right play. If you get good at getting your people in the right play, then that's something that's more than something that could show up on a stat sheet. He doesn't really turn the ball over a lot. He's turned the ball over a little bit more this year than he has in years past, but Tom Brady, I'm going to go ahead and go with him.
I agree. I picked Tom Brady as well as one of mine. So I've always said this about Tom Brady. It's just simply a winner. You don't really get – you know what you get when you get Tom Brady. There's even talks of him leaving Patriots in 2020. Don't see it happening. He's kind of like that Kobe guy for me, for the NFL. He'll probably retire a Patriot. But he always finds a way to win, dominant in his entire career. I mean, the Patriots still have a dynasty as long as Tom Brady's still, quarterbacking.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was I agree with that pick. I went with that pick as well. I shouldn't say agree, but I went with that pick as well. So.
Who else did you pick out of the AFC?
I did go with Patrick Mahomes. Actually, let me because Patrick Mahomes was my second vote. The one before him was Lamar Jackson. Stellar stellar season.
Yeah,
Stellar season.
no, MVP caliber season so far. He right now, if I was to have to vote for the MVP, he would be
He'd
my
be my
pick
guy.
for the MVP without a doubt.
At least my AFC guy. He would be. If you're asking me who, because it's going to come down to the best guy, obviously. But if you ask me who my NFC guy is, it's Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Okay. And then Patrick Mahomes, of course, I picked Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes still playing very steady ball here. Over 2,800 yards passing so far, 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, a 94.8 rating. Wait, no, I'm reading somebody else's stats.
And I lied to y'all too. My bad. I meant to say
19 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. My bad. He's actually, he's actually flexing on motherfuckers as he normally does. So Patrick Mahomes, Pro Bowl, even though he was hurt, lost 2 games, still simply
phenomenal quarterback.
Phenomenal
quarterback. And I lied to y'all. I did not pick Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. I went with the not even so much an unpopular pick. I went with Deshaun Watson. The Texans, if you watch any Texan football, and I don't know how many people out there really do because they're not a big market team like they used to, or like they should be. But if you watch any Texans football, there's 2 guys on that field that are just A1 stud football players. That's DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson.
Right.
The man can simply make all the passes. He finds ways to win. And I mean, we're talking about a man that played last year with a decimated offensive line and still made it to the playoffs. Like, there's, granted, I would like, or I shouldn't say granted, but I should say what I'm hoping for is that he gets an improved line in front of him because I would like to see him in the NFL for a long time. But man, that was my pick because the kid is just straight up A1 sauce. If you ain't put that on the state, I don't know what else you would put on it. Deshaun Watson is that guy. If it wasn't for Lamar Jackson doing what Lamar Jackson do, he would have probably got my MVP vote at that. But
yes, if you are the Colts, if you are the Jaguars, and if you're the Tennessee Titans, you've got to be worried about Deshaun Watson
for years.
He's a young guy, his 3rd year in the league, 2,900 yards, 25 touchdown passes, only 7 picks. He is playing great. Because I'm only picking 3 and 3, and I'm sticking to my 3 and 3.
That's what I did too.
He was my snub.
And I only put in 1 ballot just so y'all know, because I have to pick the best of the best. I don't like to put in more than 1 ballot because at that point you start to convolute the process itself. We're talking about the upper echelon. We're talking about guys that have done more than their fair share to make their teams what they are. So by fairness, I only put in 1 vote for this. So, these are the guys that I picked. So now that we've made our AFC selections, NFC, the guy I first and foremost picked, always been a long-time fan of the guy, is Russell Wilson. Dude is a beast. What can you say? I don't know if y'all saw the trick play in the last game, but dude's a beast. He's just who else would make that pass? You would say Aaron Rodgers, but bro, that pass was just on the money.
Yeah, I would say Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson, over 37 yards, 2,937 yards, 27 touchdowns, only 3 picks.
And 5 tugs on the floor, if I'm not mistaken. And that 5 tugs on the floor is a difference maker, y'all. Like, when we're talking about quarterbacks, a lot of people have an argument about what's better, a pocket passer or a mobile quarterback. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you, a guy that can do both. And 3 of the guys that we've talked about so far can, which is why they're definitely in the MVP race. So, yeah, hats off to Russell Wilson for the season he's putting together, especially with what you might call a pedestrian line. Like, that line that he has out there is not the best line that Russell Wilson has had in front of him, and he's still making do so.
But when you have a really, really good quarterback that can extend plays or gets the ball out of their hands quickly, depending on what play's going on, you really don't need to spend a lot of money and effort on your offensive line. You can play with some mediocre kind of guys and still make it happen. And I think that's what the I think that's what Seattle is hoping for, because of the salary cap. You got to really kind of pick who you're going to pay.
You're right.
And I think that they're mostly paying people on the defensive side of the ball. They have one okay receiver. I would say, you know,
don't do that because I
always,
definitely ride for. I would definitely ride for my guy, Lockett, Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett. He's not.
Man,
No, he's
was
not.
crazy,
he's not. He's
if
okay.
that, if he didn't, we're talking about him in a minute.
He's not like a like a guy that you would automatically. He walks in the room. He's not automatically looked at as a number one receiver. But
they bank on him though.
Right, but he's timely. He's good. And then Russell Wilson also just does a great job. They have great chemistry together, and I think that's the most important part of it. But most of their defense, most of their money that they pay is for defensive players. That's a defensive team. Pete Carroll's a defensive coach, and they're going to have a solid defense always, and then they're going to rely on Russell Wilson to make plays.
Matter of fact, we'll be talking about some of those guys from the Seattle Seahawks defense later on in this podcast. But right now, like I said before, Russell Wilson is that guy.
Trubisky MVP.
I saw that. I'm not even look. No, we ain't gonna even take no trolling today. This is a short to the point show.
I can't with you answers. No, I can't with you today.
not today, sir.
All right.
Moving on. Next NFC quarterback.
I've got A.A. Ron, the bad man, Aaron Rodgers.
How can you pick against Aaron Rodgers?
You can't. That's front on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is the man. He is the best, most talented NFL quarterback I've ever seen.
When it comes to Aaron Rodgers, there's things that I've seen him do with a football that makes me say to the Green Bay Packers, like, why did y'all wait 4 years? Like, I get it. Y'all had Brett Favre, so you had to take, but bruh, y'all could have had some years where y'all were dominant beforehand. If he had any kind of a trajectory like Patrick Mahomes did, think about that, coming off the bench in his second year, bro. But Aaron Rodgers is definitely a guy that if you watch the NFL game today, he has revolutionized the position essentially because you can't game plan for a guy that can make a play like he can play. He can make. I mean, he made Jordy Nelson a Pro Bowler.
Right. 19 touchdowns, 2 interceptions this year, over 3,100 yards passing already. With the last quarter, more than the last quarter of the season to go, he's amazing. I mean, and if he played on maybe if he had he's got a great receiver in Devontae Adams.
He does.
Great receiver, but I've also seen Aaron Rodgers make guys great.
So, like I said, Jordy Nelson came to the Raiders, and if you know me, I'm a biased Raider fan, and he did not have the kind of career. And people will say, oh, well, it was the injuries. No, it's the quarterback. The difference was the quarterback. And I love Derek Carr, but you see how they pick him for the AFC for the Pro Bowl. But what I will say is when you talk about quarterbacks, when you actually sit back and you talk about a quarterback that can do it all, you are talking about an Aaron Rodgers.
Right. Now, let me ask you, who else did you pick for the NFC?
It was a tough call. And it came down to me picking Jimmy Garoppolo over Kirk Cousins, and it was real tough. It was a tough one for me to pick. I mean, Jimmy G. I've been watching Jimmy G for a long time. I watched Jimmy G when he did what he did for the Patriots before he got picked up for by the Niners, and he was good. He's a good quarterback. He's a good kid. Like
Jimmy
of all
G,
the
21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. 2,700 yards passing.
Thank you for that. And could you do me while we're on the stats? Look up Kirk Cousins because I want y'all to understand.
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins
interceptions and 22 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and an amazing 114.8 rating.
So you can understand how hard a decision it is to pick a Jimmy G over a Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is balled out, but Jimmy G has also influenced a team that was 5-11 last year to a 10-1 start.
The only reason they were 5-11 last year
because he was hurt. You see what I'm saying?
They were winning games before because remember they were 3-0 before he hurt.
Yes, sir. I do remember that, and that's what I'm telling you. Like if you're voting and you're looking along the lines of bias as far as your team is concerned, you got to really look at the game. Like Jimmy G is a 100% difference maker. What
happened to the guy that blew the Raiders out, the little young rookie? Is he still on the team?
Which one?
Remember last year, the young rookie?
I do remember him. I think he is. I think he's like third string. I mean, if he's there still, you know what I mean? If you're looking for a quarterback.
He played fantastic in one game.
If you're looking for a quarterback.
But also Rams in the NFC, so Kirk Cousins, right?
Oh, yeah, it was definitely Kirk Cousins.
I picked Jimmy G as well. I just didn't feel right. Like, San Francisco's a pretty good team. and leaving the leader of that squad off. I think that he just deserved a Pro Bowl nod.
Yeah.
But Kirk Cousins is playing lights out football right now. He was the October Offensive Player of the month.
Yeah.
So Kirk Cousins, you like that. You like that.
I know you like that.
And then so as far as my also rans, yeah, definitely, of course, Kirk Cousins. But what about the young guy?
Which one?
Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, a 91.2 rating, and over 2,700 yards passing in his rookie season.
Man is definitely going to be on the list next year. He's going to be on a lot of lists in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Cardinals, build your team around him.
NFC West, definitely the toughest
AFC
division.
also rans before we move away from this also ran list. I did have Derek Carr on the also ran list. He's had a good season this year. He's worked well with his tight ends, especially Darren Waller. So you'll be hearing about him from me later on.
Bad game on Sunday.
The Jets are going to wake up at some point. We knew that was coming, but he's definitely turned a team that was 4-12, 3-13 into a 6-5 team, contender for the playoffs. He was one of my also rans. And again, on my list was Patrick Mahomes, and that's why I made the mistake, because I really honestly, it took me a long time to get past that pick on whether it was going to be Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. But the 3 games that he was hurt, if anything, it builds his value, but it did cost him, in my opinion, it cost him a little time on the field. So that's the only reason there. But anyway.
Sleep on Josh Allen.
Oh, that guy's a bad man. I don't want to see that dude in the playoffs. He might just make us all regret that.
He's going to grind it out, and he's a good young guy. So
exactly.
Moving on to running back, I'm going to go to the AFC, and I'm going to start with the obvious choice for running back in the AFC, Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette is, I think he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler. He's got just an amazing game to him. And right now, 1,342 yards, 4.6 yards to carry, 3 touches. So
that's a good man. Look, Leonard Fournette is just one of those guys that slipped through the cracks on me. But then I have to read the numbers. I'll read the numbers and I watch a little bit of the film. He earned my vote.
That's right.
He did earn my vote.
Who else did earn my vote?
My very next vote, again, Raider Nation, holla for life. Josh Jacobs, rookie of the year, in my opinion, if not a Pro Bowler. 923 rushing yards as of the last game before the Jets. So I didn't get the last stats update on that. But phenomenal season from a rookie.
He's now after last game at 1,103 yards, 7 touchdowns, 4.8 yards to carry. So
that is incredible.
Very well.
4.8 yards a carry is something to definitely be happy about from your running back position. It's extremely something to be happy about from your rookie running back. So shout outs on both fronts. I do anticipate him being offensive rookie of the year this year. If not, it'd be a travesty. But if nothing else, he did earn my Pro Bowl vote. What was your next vote, sir?
Nick Chubb.
Damn straight.
Nick Chubb from the Browns.
From the Browns.
1,341 yards.
Kids running ramshot.
He's on pace to run for about 1,600 yards.
Running ramshot on the league.
5.0 yards per carry.
Now, if y'all are not pundits of the NFL and don't understand what we mean by 5 yards a carry, that's literally a half a first down each time he touches the ball.
Absolutely. And 7 touchdowns. Definitely a bright spot on a Browns team that many consider underachieving.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that he's going to be in the Pro Bowl. I'm sure he's going to be in the Pro Bowl.
Agree with you, Prince, but you already know that man Nick Chubb is a bad man. You can't even deny that, man. They are washed. But the Browns are washed.
You know what? This is what I'm going to say, because it's a divisional thing. You got to understand what's going on in that division right now.
Yeah.
It's a very close division. If the Browns win against the Pittsburgh Steelers this week,
it could change things.
It could change things. They can still win the division.
They can sneak in. Here's
they
one
can still win the division.
And they have
I think if you win the division, you didn't sneak into the playoffs. You won the division. You have
if people take your eyes off you for a second in the NFL, that'll hurt.
Hunt's very good, Greg. I think that Hunt's very good. I think that the Browns, it seems like the way that they're using him, that the Browns got Hunt to keep him away from other teams.
I think so too, because he's a devastating running back when he was with the Chiefs. I mean, he was a game changer. So if you can even put him behind Nick Chubb, as an insurance policy, you have no fall off in talent.
I think that Hunt is going to do very well. I think that he's going to do very well on another team because he doesn't do anything different than what Chubb can do. Chubb's a 3-down back. And I think that Hunt is going to have to find his lane somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think shout out
Baltimore's winning that division. Oh yeah. You know what? You're right. I forgot they were in the division.
But again, and I see what you said next. But yeah,
Pittsburgh was in the wild card spot.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is in the wild card spot. But if they lose, and the Browns beat them, so if they come up tied at the end of the year, or they have another game and the Browns win that one again, by then they have that tiebreaker. So
yeah,
the Browns,
someone else like the Raiders, maybe they could step up and get
Raiders
that wild card spot. No, they're one. They lost, but they could still hypothetically
friends,
wild card.
Don't be influencing us to get off the topic. We got a whole lot of positions to run through. But again, Nick Chubb definitely gets the shout. Third AFC. I picked. Oh, let me think about it. Let me think about it now. I should have had that list in front of me. But for the AFC, I believe I picked. I'm trying to think now. Who was that? I said Josh Jacobs. I said Nick Chubb. Leonard Fournette. That was it. That was the three.
Okay, so Nick Chubb.
So now we're on the NFC. That's
no, I got. I actually voted for Mark Ingram, and I think that I maybe want to change my vote.
You can always recast the ballot. The reason I didn't vote for Mark Ingram is simply because Lamar Jackson's been stealing his highlights.
I don't see how anyone can leave Derrick Henry off of the Pro Bowl team this year.
You are 100% right.
Henry. It seems like every time I watch him play, he breaks like an 80-yard touchdown run.
But not only that, he's just aggressive with the ball.
1,100 yards, over 11, almost 1,200 yards, 4.8 yards carry, 12 touchdowns. So I mean, he is.
He's a top 5 running back in the NFL right now. FYI.
Oh, definitely. So forgive me.
And that man is put it this way: when he came into the league,
that's a good thing about picking your Pro Bowl picks early. You can always change your mind.
But when he came into the league, the one thing that everybody said about him, because I'm reading the chat, the one thing that everybody knew about Derrick Henry was that he was huge.
Right.
And I think they underestimated his development because he was still young. And I think now that he's caught up mentally with his size and how to play the NFL game, that's another running back you're gonna have to worry about. I mean, I remember when they had Eddie George. Remember when they had Eddie George? Mm-hmm. He's probably about 2 to 3 times
top 5. Like someone asked your top 5. So
no, he's top 5. He's not top 5.
I would say that they're 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think he might be
maybe top 6. I think he was top 6.
Maybe he's number 5 or number
top
6.
Yeah.
But he's not automatically top 5.
Well, yeah, I was just talking about my stats for this year. I'm sorry. Okay. But
let's go to the NFC.
So NFC, first guy that I really gave a high look at was your boy. Jesus Christ, it was on the tip of my tongue. Who'd you pick? You start.
Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is the best running back in the NFL right now.
Hands down, in your opinion?
It can be argued, but he has 1,472 yards, 4.8 yards to carry, 11 touchdowns for a team that is 7-3. And
there's a passing team at that.
Well,
they're a passing. They were a passing team for that.
I think they're a run-first team.
Actually, that was one of my picks too. Was Chris McCaffrey? That'll be the one. I was like, well, it slipped my mind because he isn't, naturally what I see in my head when I think of a running back. If you get my drift, but Chris McCaffrey, man, put it like this: if you remember his dad had crazy hands. Dad had crazy hands. And was one of the most reliable wide receivers on the Denver Broncos team that was a perennial playoff team and as well a champion.
Right. And Christian McCaffrey is I don't know if you don't say Dalvin. I think Dalvin Cook, if you're talking about running the ball, being a running back.
Oh yeah,
he's the best running back in the league.
But if you're talking about Christian McCaffrey as a complete back,
he is the equivalent of a Marshall Faulk this season.
Yes, perfect example. I would say Marshall Faulk, just because Darren. I was going to compare him to Darren Sproles, but you're not really going to give Darren Sproles the ball, on a 3rd and 2 and hope that he breaks the line. You could do that with Christian McCaffrey. Kid is big, he's strong, he's fast. He's slow. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like if you take Ed McCaffrey's hands and you put him on a better, like on a way faster guy. Jesus Christ! I mean, like I've seen this dude burn DBs. It's crazy. He definitely earned my.
Christian McCaffrey combined 1,700 yards combined all purpose. 5.1 yards per carry. and 16 touchdowns.
Ridiculous.
And only one fumble this year. So
Ridiculous.
He protects the ball.
That's what you want.
He is the heart and soul of that Carolina offense for sure.
All the way.
And who did you pick for your other person?
The other guy that I picked from the NFC was your boy Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley.
Can't deny Saquon Barkley in any way, shape, or form, even with the few games that he missed earlier this year. Without him, the Giants would be literally irrelevant. Not
a real big numbers name, but he is a baller, and I think he deserves it.
Alvin Kamara? Tough for me to deny him.
Look, the thing about Pro Bowl picking is that somebody's going to get snubbed every time.
Always. Actually, before we took this show.
There's players in the NFL at any given point in time.
Me in front of the people were like, how do we go about picking our picks? Like, we had a process to this, y'all. If y'all don't think this is why we even having the show, because we had a process to this. There are guys that are definitely not going to be on our list that other people are voting for. That's why we tell you to vote.
Even each other. I didn't vote for.
Yeah, we had some controversial votes.
Yeah,
that's what this is about.
Pro Bowl ballots.
You know who else I felt might have gotten a little bit of a snub in the AFC that was hard for me not to pick was your boy Le'Veon Bell. Shockingly good for the Jets. I mean, quiet season.
Are you shocked that Le'Veon Bell's good?
Quiet season because I didn't expect the Jets to be good, but a quietly good season, and he's helped that team be very, very
turned it on as of late.
Right. Yeah, he's helped that team remain in the hunt.
And the Jets are on a 3-game winning streak. They've scored over 34 points
every game.
In one of those games.
Fundamental.
And a big part of that offense is Le'Veon Bell, especially catching out the backfield the last few games.
Yeah. So it was hard for me to dodge him out. And most of that was just because the Jets hadn't been productive until I had started voting. But after the blowout that they had against my boys, and I watched that game for the most part until I fell asleep halfway through, he was dominant. So shout out to Le'Veon Bell. No disrespect to you. Good job on coming back to the NFL and still being the guy that you are. So we covered our 6 there.
Let's talk about wide receivers.
That is an excellent conversation. Which division would you like to start with? NFC or AFC?
AFC.
Okay. So first pick for me.
Who's the best wide receiver in the AFC?
Jesus Christ, I want to say Mike Evans. No, that's NFC. I'm sorry. I'm tripping.
Yeah.
AFC.
You would be wrong, but yeah.
Best wide receiver in the AFC. You're probably going to have to come down to it being what was his name? I'm not going to say Julian Edelman, even though he's been decent this year. I think I voted for. I'm trying to think. AFC.
I guess I got to start.
You might have to.
I voted for Keenan Allen.
I voted for him, but he wasn't my best. He wasn't my choice for best wide receiver in the AFC, though.
The reason I voted for Keenan Allen is because Keenan Allen has 70 catches, and he's a beast.
That's who I voted for. It came to me as soon as you said that, and it was a guy we talked about already. DeAndre Hopkins, y'all.
Oh yeah, I also have DeAndre Hopkins on my. Okay, yeah, I also have DeAndre Hopkins on my list for sure. I voted for him.
Had to do it. Not even because of the fact that he's a phenomenal person.
Well, he's having a great season.
He's just having a great season.
Right. Who else did you vote
for? In the AFC, I went after, let's see, just moving through the teams because I had that list. I literally want to make sure I'm quoting you the right squads. AFC. I went with, and it's probably easy for me to say the NFC. I'll start with one from the NFC that I went with.
No,
AFC. I can't remember who it was in the AFC.
Okay, well, I'll speak again.
Okay.
Maybe refresh your memory. Tyreek Hill.
I didn't pick Tyreek Hill.
I picked Tyreek Hill because he is he's unguardable.
It's too fast.
But
I like him on special teams.
He's an unguardable. I mean, on special teams, I mean, he plays a little special team. But he lifts the whole entire top off of that defense, and he allows people like Kelsey to work underneath.
He does.
And people like possession receivers like Sammy Watkins to work underneath, and to make and allows also big play capability when you got a quarterback with an arm like Patrick Mahomes. You've got to have somebody that can take the top off and allow him to make big plays, and no one makes bigger plays in the NFL than Tyreek Hill.
I'm really sitting over here thinking who my last AFC pick was because it wasn't Tyreek Hill. I want to say it was OBJ.
OBJ?
I want to
say he's not even the best receiver on his team.
Oh, I'm trying to think of who it was. Because like I said, I really haven't seen really too many AFs other than Tyreek Hill, obviously, who I probably should have picked. But I didn't see anybody really blow the socks off me as far as the
It's
AFC.
so hard to pick wide receivers.
It really is, because you
got
gotta
really
have
good ones, a lot of different styles, and it's really hard to pick them.
Like I said, I mean, for me, the NFC was so much easier to pick. I might even pick more AFC wide receivers in this particular instance, but I'm pretty sure I kept it balanced, which I have a ballot with me. But the one thing,
AFC snub
that I would have said, I mean, like I said,
that's
there's
not
no
on my list.
that's
Courtland Sutton from Denver or Juju Smith-Schuster, also not on my list.
not there, and not through any fault of their own. They've had very bad quarterbacks this year, so
no, but good seasons with bad
good
quarterbacks.
seasons, but just with bad quarterbacks.
That means a lot more than just
you can hold the ball.
Jarvis Landry's 59 catches, so
Jarvis Landry might have been somebody that stuck on my list. I think that was the guy that was eluding my memory because I just don't pay attention much to the
voted for Odell Beckham.
I don't think it was Odell Beckham. I think it was Jarvis Landry. You named one of the guys that I know I would have voted for, and I think that was him because I kept it even throughout this list. NFC wide receivers though were just much more easier to pick. First and foremost, I picked Stephon Diggs over Adam Thielen. I know me and you would discuss that pick. Had to pick the boy.
Stephon Diggs is not on my list, but
he is on a passing team. He's arguably the best wide receiver.
19 yards a catch.
He's just he's beastie. And I mean, keep in mind, Thielen is just as beastie as he is. I think he has like 16 to 17 yards per catch. Both of them have almost 1,000 yards for the season. So it was tough to pick between those two guys, but Stephon Diggs got my bounce for that.
Okay, I picked Devontae Adams.
Very good pick. I also picked Devontae Adams from the Packers simply because Aaron Rodgers, man. Yeah, he works with Aaron Rodgers, bro. He goes to work with Aaron Rodgers. If you work with Aaron Rodgers, you're probably, if you have a little bit of hands, gonna have a good year. So he got that.
And maybe I picked prematurely because he had a terrible game yesterday. Got shut out. Amari Cooper. Not yesterday, day before yesterday. Amari Cooper.
And funny, me and you discussed that pick. It was at that point that I went with Mike Evans. And Mike Evans was my pick simply because we don't really hear a lot that comes out of Tampa Bay. But the boy has, look up the stats. I think he has almost like 1,300 yards.
Over 1,000 yards.
He's already hit that mark. He's got over, I think it's like 80 catches.
77 touchdowns, 62 catches.
62, okay.
But he's killing it.
He's killing it. And that is amazing to do in a team where they're 5-7 right now. They're not even really they're not in any type of running. And me and a friend of the people had this conversation whether or not a guy should be voted into the Pro Bowl when they're on a bad team. And then I had to look at those stats and just say there's no argument about it.
What about Jones? Julio Jones. I picked Julio Jones for my Pro Bowl team, and I think that enough said. You don't really have to explain Julio Jones.
You don't. I mean, Julio Jones, it's through no fault of his own that every year the Falcons have seemed to underachieve. Even their Super Bowl year, I mean, 25 points. But anyway, the point is Julio Jones comes to work, does his job year in, year out. He's perennially an all-star, and he should continue to all-pro, and he should continue to be so. The other NFC wide receiver that I voted for was Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas is who I should have put on my list instead of the guy that I put. I voted for Cooper Kupp. Michael Thomas is the best receiver in it.
Put it this way.
Yeah.
You take Terry Bridgewater. You take Terry Bridgewater and you put him on a team with a subpar wide receiver. He'd have handed back the Saints to Drew Brees at about 2 or 3.
I don't know. Teddy Bridgewater is a winner.
I'm not saying he's not. But let's just say
that Vikings team that he was on that went to the NFC Championship. They had a great defense.
Yeah, and great offensive play. And I'm not saying that Terry Bridgewater wasn't that, but if he didn't have that confidence,
a lot of those games,
he found a way to win through Michael Thomas. If he didn't have that confidence, he wouldn't have that.
Not like Teddy Bridgewater. One thing is he's not going to turn the ball.
Well, he's not a game manager. He's an actual gamer. So he's going to play football. But if you got confidence in a guy like you have in Michael Thomas,
you need a guy that can catch a 4-yard pass.
You need to know that.
Teddy Bridgewater. You got a guy that's going to get it 4 yards at a time. They're going to take a 4-yard pass and run it 60 yards.
Exactly. And crazy enough,
is Michael Thomas.
sidebar conversation. Shout out to whoever has been working with Ted Ginn Jr. with his hands. Because this dude can't seem to drop a pass lately. I just thought I'd bring that up since we're talking about football, which is outside of the norm. But shout out to whoever is the coach for Ted Ginn's hands, because you are doing your job phenomenally well and you deserve a raise. But moving
Michael
on.
Thomas is an MVP candidate. He has 104 catches, 1,242 yards,
ridiculous,
and 6 touchdowns, 11.9 per. He is
gosh darn ridiculous. I don't even know what else to say other than gosh darn ridiculous.
Right. Moving along, did you pick a fullback?
I picked the Juszczyk.
I picked Juszczyk.
So I mean,
the other guys, I was like, okay,
it's a fullback, guys. What do you want us to do here?
Right.
When you look at the list, you'll see.
So yeah. It's like you have to really a lot of people I didn't do a lot of film grading. You know what I mean? Maybe if you wanted to say Dan Vitale from the Packers,
again, when I looked,
it wasn't even a lot of fullbacks that even qualified.
The list is only maybe 10 or 12 deep for fullbacks. So I didn't spend a lot of time on the list. I went with the guy that I knew that I'd seen play. I saw Juszczyk play last year. Very good. I saw him play a couple of games this year. He's still maintaining his 6 yards of carry. He's still maintaining his standard of play. Fantastic block. Moving on to tight ends. Okay, so
easy money.
We all know that the tight end position is a very tough position to pick, but it's been the standard. And the first one I'm going to name off the top, which I don't give a damn which side are you picking on, you should always be looking at first, Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce, definitely, especially just been playing lights out football.
And for the last couple of years, but I mean, just this year alone,
having a great season.
He's doing his job. He's always available for Patrick Mahomes. He was available in the 3 games that he was there.
63 catches, 833 yards thus far. He is playing very well, and he has 4 touchdowns. So
very best tight end ever since since Gronkowski retired, hands down.
My other pick was Darren Waller from the Raiders.
Yes, Darren Waller's playing familiar.
He's the number 1 receiver for the Raiders right now. A great security blanket for David Carr, and is actually making a difference in that offense.
Well, without Darren Waller, I'll be honest with you, you don't see 900 or you don't see 1,100 yards from a Josh Jacobs, just simply because they put 8 in the box that there was no passing threat. Darren Waller keeps the defenses honest.
He's also a very good blocker.
And he's also a very good blocker. You took the words right out of my mouth. He's a very good blocker. He's excellent on making holes for Josh Jacobs. Top-notch play from him. Top-notch pickup from the Raiders. Definitely one of my Pro Bowl picks as well.
In the NFC,
Kittles, yeah. Always Kittles.
Kittle, on Sunday night, played with
Kittles, baby.
Playing with a broken ankle. Did not look like he's playing with a broken ankle at all.
When you start talking about greats, when you start talking about legends or things that make your legend great in the NFL, that's one of those type things. And the San Francisco 49ers have always had a guy like that. So it's great to see Kittle on the 49ers. Definitely big-time player. Big-time player.
And then Zach Ertz
always
from Philadelphia.
Hey, Philly, I know it's tough. But always know that there's a ray of sunshine when you have a Zach Ertz on your team.
Zach Ertz, 67 catches, 712 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's been playing out of his mind. A bright spot in Philadelphia, a struggling Philadelphia team.
Gloomy locker room. Good guy to have in it. Funny story about that is most people won't get to see Zach Ertz in the playoffs, hopefully, if you're a Cowboys fan. But
just so this doesn't get too long, we don't want to be here too long. We're going to make sure we're just going to go notables on defense.
Okay? Yeah. So, same thing with offensive line too, because I do too much.
Who is your lock picks for defensive end?
Lock picks definitely have to be Melvin Gordon III from
Wait, did you say Melvin Gordon?
Is it Melvin Gordon? Melvin Ingram. I'm so sorry, y'all. Melvin Ingram III from the Chargers. Phenomenal guy. And then his bookend.
Ingram? Really?
Yeah, I love Melvin. I love watching Melvin Ingram play.
In the AFC.
Yeah.
So he's better than
but I was going to say his bookend also got my vote, which was Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa.
Because both of them are incredibly, if you've watched how they play in tandem, they are incredibly influential on an offensive line. They wreak havoc. I think that both of them can get to the quarterback at ease when they're both playing at the top of the game.
I picked both Bosa brothers, one from the AFC, one from the NFC.
Oh, yeah, I got Bosa.
They're both playing out of their mind. I also picked Fairbairn County, and Daniil Hunter cannot sleep on him.
Oh, and Cameron Hayward.
Cameron Hayward is a defensive tackle listed on the Pro Bowl.
Is it?
Yes. So he has.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Cameron Jordan. I keep getting
Jordan.
Cameron Jordan for the New Orleans Saints.
Just not having the kind of season. Like, I know he's good. Okay.
You just wanted to have a better season.
He's not having a Pro Bowl season that I think. Maybe you could pick him over Jadeveon Clowney. I just think that Clowney has been playing on a weaker defensive line that the Seattle Seahawks have.
They still have Averill. They still have guys
playing absolutely well, holding that, being the glue that kind of holds that thing together.
Yeah. I agree with
defensive tackles, Aaron Donald, Eric Armstead, Cameron Haywood, of course. So those guys are my main guys. So yeah, I think you can't argue. Eric Armstead's playing out of his mind right now. Aaron Donald, probably the best football player in the NFL.
On the defensive side of the ball,
Cameron Hayward just stalwart against the run and really can push that pocket when you're talking about
getting to the ball, or even stopping the run. Like he's a very efficient stopper for the run as well, which we've seen him do in many different occasions. Whether it was against, like I watched him against the Browns, he kind of stifled Nick Chubb for a quite decent part of that game. So yeah, that's why you'll keep Cameron Jordan, Cameron Hayward are getting mixed up because both the Camerons are playing well. So there you go.
Right, middle linebackers. I've got Bobby Wagner, Luke Kuechly is my main guys that I voted for.
Who else? Right. I went down the list, and I mean there's some decent names on there, but Bobby Wagner is the heart and soul of the Seattle defense. He's definitely hard to beat across the middle. You don't want to get hit by the guy, and he can definitely hold the run down if he decides to just focus on that, if that's what you want to do. And then when you talk about Luke Kuechly, I mean, what hasn't been said about Luke Kuechly? The superlatives are myriad, and of course the choices that you can have for him. But Luke Kuechly is definitely one of those guys that, barring a trade, is going to be somebody that'll retire a Panther great and definitely an all-time Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. Now my outside linebacker picks, my notables: Jamie Collins, been playing
phenomenal,
excellent for the Patriots there, and KJ Wright. So basically, those two guys are going to be the outside linebacker picks there.
Notable as well for the inside linebacker also are a snub that I kind of felt should also be acknowledged in Pro Bowl voting. If you're thinking about a guy or you want to look at some film on a guy, please take a look at Darius Leonard.
Well, he's been hurt.
He's been hurt.
He didn't play enough games to even really qualify for the ballot.
Him and another guy is Demario Davis. Demario Davis is a very good inside linebacker from the Saints. He's on the list, but I didn't get a chance to. He didn't outshine the guys that we talked about. But if you're, trying to pick maybe with your something to give you a little bit of spice to the game, it's got to look at. So anyway, moving forward.
My cornerback picks: Marcus Peters. He's been playing great. Been playing absolute great ball. Was playing great for the Rams. Got traded. Playing excellent for the Ravens and having a great season. Janoris Jenkins also having a great season.
And I also shot a look at Jalen Ramsey, who, even though traded and last game, I'm not going to hold him hostage for, but has had a great season this year.
Kind of got smoked. Yeah, I think everybody
on the Rams team got so that's
Stephon Gilmore is the best cornerback in the league right now, and he is definitely the Pro Bowl vote to make.
And if you're also looking on the other side of the ball too, or the other side of away from Stephon Gilmore, you can always look at Marcus Lattimore, who's having a great season as well. And then for your safeties, for strong safety, my first pick that I want to talk about, of course, is the great and infamous Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Minkah Fitzpatrick, free safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, if we're talking about safety picks, Jabril Peppers.
Jabril Peppers has been doing it since he was with the Giants. Just a real good player, man.
Right.
And I'm glad to see that he's still productive. But like Minkah Peppers, gotta watch out for in the next coming years.
We're not gonna bore you with the special team picks. I don't see anybody except I did vote. I just gave a homer. If I had a homer vote to give, I gave it to my boy Kenyon Barner from right here in Southern California because when I was actually doing the Pro Bowl ballots, I watched him run a kickback, punt back 89 yards for a touchdown. So
shout out
my special teams return guy on the squad. So
I mean, if I did pick one guy, his number is 49. I can't remember his name because they're all the specialist pick is crazy. But he plays for the Seahawks and he has no hand. So but he's very effective on special teams. Typically, the first guy to the ball. When you watch the Seahawks games, check him out. That was my vote.
Okay. So, hey, anything else before we put a cap on this thing?
No, only thing I got to say is rumor is that Colin Kaepernick may find a home.
He has a home. He just never
well, in other words, he may find employment. Let's say it that way. He may get out of the suit.
Offered him?
Yes, it seems that it's reported the Carolina Panthers may be making the move.
They need a quarterback.
And they definitely need one soon. So there has been speculation, and inside sources have reported that they are really looking forward to meeting with Cap and possibly moving forward. Hopefully this does come through for Cap because 3 years out of the league seems like a long time. But more importantly, the Carolina Panthers need a quarterback, and it's time for them to move on from Cam. Might be a good choice.
Absolutely. At least bring him in. Let him hold a clipboard for the rest of the season. And then Colin Kaepernick will be in position to compete for your starting job next year.
Shit, can't sell less tickets. You can't sell less tickets than you're selling right now with what they got on the field. So
I don't know. The Carolina Panthers sell out. They're great fans.
But they still got Christian McCaffrey, too.
They have great fans.
They still gonna have
a great team. They have great defense, and they really love the Carolina Panthers. So,
they do.
But shout out to you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Check us out next time on the Best Case Scenario podcast. We'll probably get back to talking about some current events.
And we got lots of that to talk about, y'all. If you've watched the news, we got some stuff to unload on you when we get the chance. So.
Shout out to Tyrone Irvin, Prince Gregory Hayes, the Soapbox Heroes Network. Like, share, subscribe.
Hit that notification bell, baby.
Behave.
And as always, the best is yet to come.